This isn't really an art question, but since it's one of the last days, Anthony, what is one of your favorite movies?
Forrest Gump. All right, moving
Oh,
on.
an unexpectedly grounded answer.
I each frame represents. Yeah, it would be Forrest Gump. Like my top 10 movies include Forrest Gump, Jurassic Park, Fight Club. I think Fight Club's a generational thing, though. I think it's just my generation's the Breakfast Club. Yeah. I saw a video too about how hold on, I'm trying to find. Did I spell extensions wrong? I did. I read about how like Fight Club ruined my generation's men. Right? I don't disagree with some of what they were trying to say. Like I forgot exactly the details, but just they're just implying this idea that like Fight Club gave this idea of just being like super macho, anarchist, and like really confident and having all like looking really good, being really cool, these types of features.
Mm.
Wait on just a second. Anyways, so like I was saying, but I think that there's some truth to it because there's a lot of there's a lot of dudes these days who are idiotic and overly insecure these days, and
I've noticed that.
yeah, it could be primarily because of movies like this. There's like this there's a lot of attention focused on the subjectivity of women, which is fair. It's very fair criticism from time to time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Normally women, if they want to be sexy, they can be sexy. And I think it's ironic if like women's magazines are the ones that are actually objectifying women more so than men stuff. But that's neither here or there. The point I'm trying to make is that the same is true for men, but it's less talked about. And because of this, there's this kind of overwhelming group of men who feel incredibly insecure and lost with their lives. Women are also becoming more and more pushed into the workforce, these types of things. So again, those insecurities get amplified. Again, none of these are bad things. It's just that it's like the indirect effect, right? And that's why you see more neo-Nazis and stupid shit like this starting to surface, because these people just have no identity and they're just like, the fuck am I? Am I a fucking cook? Am I a cook? And then they do stupid things that are actually counterintuitive to their own depression. Right? Like someone like you and I and most of you guys probably won't run into this problem because we have like our art, right? You guys will all lead into having some careers and having some substance into your life, right? But I have some friends, some guy friends who do not have this, and they are definitely they're definitely crazier than your average bear, especially my friends who still live in Barstow, and so, which is just a small town in the middle of nowhere, literally like 30 miles in every direction is just pure desert. Yeah, and so it's like, oh man, but nonetheless, still love that movie, even though it might have ruined a generation of men. It created unrealistic standards, and I was able to separate the two. Is what I'm getting at.
I saw an interesting article talking about like Akira, how that is a kind of similar thing where it's trying to address that men, especially young men, are like there's a cultural stigma that like forbids emotion,
Yeah.
and how like all of the central conflict of Akira actually sort of comes from that inability to connect with that part of yourself.
Yeah. There's some merit to these problems, you know, and I think just recently people are starting to address it because they're like, wait a minute, like why is there so many neo Nazis? You know, it's like, yeah, why is there? It's a real question to be asking, man. Like it's so clearly stupid, and but yet it's rising, and so you know it's really a problem. But yeah, I like that movie, Fight Club. I like, what else is a movie? Oh, I really love Thor Ragnarok. Thor Ragnarok's up there in my top 10. It's funny because Thor was probably my least favorite superhero in the franchise, and now he's become my favorite.
Same. Ragnarok like changed
everything, man,
and brought the cosmic weirdness in.
I love it. He's my favorite character now too. Like, not just like it was my favorite movie. It's my favorite movie out of the franchise, all the Marvel franchises. But it was just, he's just a really good. Like, they finally figured it out. Like, oh yeah, Chris Hemsworth is actually hilarious. we should just like capitalize on that. Like, they're trying to make him like this kind of theatrical actor. No, he's definitely like a frat boy, you know. And if you put him in that kind of circumstance, he's going to do great. It's like putting Keanu Reeves in a theatrical position. It's like, no, he's just a cool dude. Just make him do cool dude stuff. You know, like The Matrix, perfect. He's a cool dude. He's going to do cool stuff. Bill and Ted, Excellent Adventure, another great example. John Wick is more recent example. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's cool dudes. But yeah, like I like those movies. What movie is less like action packed? I don't know. I just love action movies. I just found out that like Bumblebee is coming out like next weekend, or is it this weekend? No, next weekend.
It's coming out soon.
Yeah, next weekend. And I'm so excited. I'm like really excited. I love Transformers. I love the new franchise too. I know most people in our industry ironically don't. At least those who don't work on it. I think people who even work on it don't like it. But my point is that I love it, man. I love Transformers. I love robots.
Mm-hmm.
I love like Pacific Rim is one of my favorite movies too. I like robots, and I like robots and monsters, and Pacific Rim had both. If they did like a Transformers meets Godzilla, like the monster movies, oh yeah, those are coming out too. Oh, King of the Monsters one, heck yeah, man. I actually got a booth. Oh, that reminds me, I need to like put that down on my schedule so I don't forget to pay for the thingy. But yeah, it's really my favorite stuff. Those types of movies. Awesome. I'd love to see you. It'd be great. But yeah, those movies are my favorite. I like action movies. I heard Bad Boys 3 is coming out. I'm excited about that one. Yeah, I'm a simpleton. Before I was an artist, you know, I was just like your average Joe, you know. I didn't have these tendencies. I think artists naturally, like, you know, grow into these types of attitudes of like, you know, be hypercritical of a lot of things. And I realized as I was getting better and better at art, I was doing such things, you know. But that's not who I am. I'm not that. I'm not hypocritical. I'm more observational. I like to consider myself more an observer. Like, I like to observe things and try to find out how things are versus how I think they should be.
Mm-hmm.
It's really, really challenging to control how things should be. Right? Like, for instance, I think people should, you know, stop fighting each other, like, you know, world peace type of thing. but obviously that's naive. I think people should, believe in climate change, but yet people don't. And I think people should take it very seriously. And the fact that people are like, you guys are alarmists, it's like, well, there's good reason to be alarmed. I remember I talked to somebody who was a denier, and I was able to convince him after talking for like 2 hours. But it was basically like just I find that like a lot of this type of thinking stems from the idea is usually rooted in the conversation of like, well, we can't believe everything that scientists say. Scientists also get things wrong. And the way that I preface this is that cars can get us from place to place, but they also crash. But yet you still drive a car, right? And it's like, just because something can go wrong or something could be wrong doesn't mean that we should just discount the whole thing, like throw the baby out with the bathwater. I mean, you might be on the wrong side of this coin, your skepticism. You're skeptic for the majority of people based off of very clear evidence of like, it's very clear that we're growing as a population. We're consuming more exponentially, right? The temperature is rising at an exponential rate, right? And all of these things are very true. Are you then trying to tell me you're more convinced that there's people out there saying that the environment is not really dangerous, but they want us to believe it is for what? You're saying that that's less believable than it is to believe that oil companies don't want to ruin their industry. And it's like, come on, dude. It's like, it's pretty clear. And he was like, okay, that kind of does make sense. It's like, yeah, like it's just like if McDonald's had a choice on foods, like they wouldn't serve healthy food if they didn't have to, But people are starting to realize, like, we should eat healthier. So McDonald's is like, all right, I got to make some healthier foods. Like, you can't, like, I'm very skeptical of industry more so than I am of scientists, is what I was trying to get at, And I think that got around to him to be understanding, like, oh, maybe I need to rethink this. It's like, yeah. And I was like, plus, if you're wrong, it's really bad. Right? Like, if you go off this belief of that everything's fine and you're wrong, you're not going to be fine. Like, if I'm wrong, then we're all fine. Right? So
right. What if we just make the world a better place for nothing?
Yeah. We should just do it anyways. It just makes more sense. It's just like, and yeah, he was convinced. But my point is this, like, I feel like I tried not to be as critical. I try to be way more observant. And so, the types of movies and stuff I watch reflect this, and the kind of the criticism that I do have reflect this. And I think people should do it too. I think you sit in a better spot. It allows you to be skeptical, but at the same time, it's not pretentiously skeptical. Like, I think that the L movies should be like Akira. So, anyway, I think on a couple more questions. In Cape Town, when I was a kid, there were so many amazing heavy rainy days and storms. Now we are going through a really bad drought for the past 3 years. Yeah. Prepare for the worst, hope for the best. Yeah. Like, I think fair criticism and skepticism is allowed, of course. You can't just trust what a scientist says. I think that's very clear. And even scientists agree that this isn't the thing. This is what peer review is made for, right? This is what meta-analysis is made for. It's to hopefully avoid any kind of biases that scientists will have, because scientists will have biases. And so it's better to get a collection of data and then look at it as a whole versus just one paper. This is what people do with health stuff too, and medical articles. They'll like look at one article and say, see, butter's good for you. It's like, no, man. It's like been for years have been tested that high amounts of saturated fat and cholesterol are incredibly bad for you in the long term. And it's still the case. That's why these diets keep changing names, right? The Atkins diet at first, then it turned into the paleo diet. And I think the newest craze is the keto diet. They keep on changing the name to hide the fact that people keep dying from these with crazy heart attacks. They keep changing them. It's the science has already been there, and it's been there since I think the 70s. Yeah. Your doctor is not going to be telling you that your high cholesterol is a good thing. So if you guys happen to be on the keto diet, be prepared. Treadmills? Currently have treadmills surrounding my house in case of zombie apocalypse. They'll never get me. That's funny. You just got to think about how to power those treadmills. Anyway, any other questions?
I realize I already asked one, but I actually have an art-related one.
Yeah, go for it.
When I was working on my characters, I was trying to go in and put darks back in using overlay and multiply layers. But I couldn't merge them down because of like the nature of multiply and overlay. I went looking into this because every time I would merge it, they would just switch back to a normal layer, and I'd lose all of the effect.
Yeah.
So I guess I just wanted to know: is there any way to merge a multiplier and overlay layer down into your image like easily, or is just taking a snapshot all you can do?
Taking a snapshot. So like you can have the only real solution you can do is, let's say you have a silhouette like this, right? And so this is like it's a silhouette that is untouched. So then you have a multiply layer. It does this. We're going to clip mask it right there, right? And then we're going to make another layer. It's going to be overlay like you were suggesting. Right? Like this. So the problem that you're talking about is that let's merge this down, right? Or merge these two layers together, rather.
Yeah.
And it's going to create this effect. The only solution is to merge it all together like that.
Alrighty. Yeah, just wanted to ask. Yeah,
and the reason why, once I explain it to you, you'll understand, and then you'll never test Photoshop's limits ever again. It's because how does the algorithm determine what is a multiply and what is an overlaid pixel? Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So if you have an overlay layer, it has a specific algorithm that determines how to change the pixels underneath it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you have a multiply, it has the same thing. It's like the same algorithm, or not the same, but it's like a different thing, but it's like an algorithm, right? That determines how the pixels should be perceived beneath it. So when you're merging them together, it's like trying to put two equations that have nothing to do with each other. Like, so then how do you determine which equation is right when it comes to evaluating like the X or Y value? Does that make sense?
Yeah. I was reading a little bit on it because of what you told me about when I don't understand things.
Yeah. And so intuitively I understand why you think it should be possible, but if you think about it like in terms of like the what you're actually asking of it to do, it's like trying to mix water and oil. It's just not going to happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so and that's just how it is. And so the only way to get the same look that you were looking for is a straight merger, right? Or better yet, just never merge the layers and just leave them be, unless there is a very real reason. I usually duplicate the layer, merge it, just in case. But I almost realize I never go back to the original state. Like once I merge it, like that's where I want to be anyway. But yeah, once you understand this principle and you think about it that way, you'll avoid this problem in the future.
Great, thanks.
Again, that's why it's just better just to be a good painter. So that way you don't have to worry about all these different layer modes. And like I've talked about many times, like I actually used to do all the stuff that you guys were doing, and that's why I have all these tools of showing you, because I used to do it myself, you know what I mean? But now I just paint it in, you know what I mean? Because it's just faster and more effective just to know how it's supposed to look, you know what I mean? Like just knowing how to maintain my values just by pure instinct is way more intuitive than just trying to make all the mistakes and then correct it later. But I get that that's hard to do just immediately. But remember that that's the dream. Just stay focused on that, and you'll get there. Question, silly one. Should we contact you from time to time? Yeah, you can contact me whenever. I know some people add me on Facebook. I message from time to time. I am super busy, and I do get tons of messages. But if you message me, eventually I might get to you. So don't give up. There was a time where I was able to respond to everybody's message, but not anymore. Yeah, it was like in the 2015, 16s. Like not too long ago, but now I've collected a lot of friends, and I have a lot of people who follow me. So I'll take on one more question.
I sort of have one. Kind of trying to figure out a strategy for like, I don't know, gaining and maintaining some kind of visibility online. Not necessarily like a following, but just like more of like a personal schedule. Just because working all by yourself all the time is it's hard to keep that up.
Yeah, you just make your own connections with other people. Like you have all the people in this class, just hang out.
Yeah,
Discords, these types of solutions. I've been feeling that like I haven't had a really opportunity to like make games, and I found that like game jamming was one of the things where like I'll just go and make a game, and it is something really amazing about that.
Oh yeah.
And so, but there was no game jams near me, at least not that I could find, not so easily. So I decided to I found one or a couple. I went to both, and now I'm just like, I'll just make my own game jam.
Yeah.
and I linked up with the guys at Brainstorm, and they're like, yeah, totally, let's do it.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. And so we're going to use the space, and yeah, that's kind of how I perceive it,
Yeah.
Like when I was in school, there was no concept classes. There was like only like one, and it was an elective, right? So it wasn't even required, and you didn't really get any extra points from it, but I took it anyway.
Yeah.
But because there wasn't any of that stuff, so me and my friends, we made a concept art club.
Oh, nice. And
we would meet up every Friday and just critique each other's work, give each other feedback, and it was an amazing thing.
Yeah.
And so usually whenever people ask me these types of questions, I always say, well, why don't you do it yourself? Why don't you create some sort of system that will allow you to be more accountable? I realize I have a lot of stuff on my plate, so I got like one thing that really helps me is making lists. So I got like a new thing I'm gonna try. It's a counter. So all it does is just counts. So I just have all these different things that it's just counting.
Is it like an app or just a?
Yeah, it's just an app, and it just counts. Counts. Like I have a lot of stuff like gym, family time, and then whenever I do it, I just put it in and it counts.
Oh, red. Okay.
So you can just kind of see how much I use my time on these different things.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, that's
instead of like a checklist of stuff, because I realize there's stuff that's ongoing, so it's not like a matter of like checking. It's more of like, okay, how much have I done of this one thing, and should I do more and change my schedule a bit?
Right. No, yeah, I do a lot of lists, and I realize I'm writing the same things down every day, and then just to cross them off later.
Yeah, it's like there's some things. Yeah, there's some things that definitely are that deserve to be on a list that won't do for a while.
Yeah. Right.
But there are other things I want to do every day. So it's like I don't really want a list. I want like a habit thing. And there's habit apps and stuff too. So
yeah, okay.
So just find ways to be accountable. I think being around other people is one of the best ways, and having events and stuff like this,
Totally.
or gatherings.
Yeah. Oh man, gatherings are awesome. Went to the ZBrush Summit this last year, and it was like
man,
buzzing still. So much fun.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my advice for that.
Cool.
All right, I'm gonna roll out now, guys.
Right on.
It's been an honor. It's been a pleasure. You guys are all awesome. I'm allergic to goodbyes.
Don't do it. No.
AJ, thanks a lot. Like it's been a really short time, but I feel like I've learned a lot. So thank you.
Well, that's what I try to do. So I'm glad to hear that. I appreciate it.
Yeah, this was really awesome.
Yeah, like I said earlier, you guys can contact. We're not strangers. You guys have invested in me and what I do, and that's why I cherish the time, and I try to make sure you guys have a good one and take care of you guys. But you guys can always, respond to me from time to time. Like I said, I might not get back to you like right away, but I will if I can. And if I don't, just keep on doing it. Keep on bugging me. Don't feel like it ever annoys me. I don't ever get annoyed by that kind of stuff.
Oh, cool.
In fact, if anything, I feel guilty that I haven't responded to the first few. That rarely happens, but I'm just saying. But yeah, hope you guys keep pushing good work, and I'll keep an eye on most of you guys as you guys progress. You can add me on Facebook, and I'll try to add you too, and then we'll keep in touch.
Awesome.
Talk to you guys later. Peace out, friends. Have
Thank
a great day. Have a great rest of your week, and have a great rest of your year.
Later on.
Thank you for watching this video. I appreciate it. Please subscribe to watch more in the future. If you like the video, I would appreciate a thumbs up. If you like this content, you can go to my website, robotpencil.net, where you can find mentorships, tutorials, and a Patreon to get more exclusive content. Thanks again, and I'll see you guys in my next videos.